culture, and education. Today, we're diving into the strange, spooky, and seriously world-changing story that basically invented a genre. It's a story so important that it's become essential for students everywhere, available in tons of different languages. Okay, let's start with a few things we all just get. We instantly recognize a haunted castle, right? You see one, you know it's got crumbling walls and some very dark secrets.
We all know that thrill of a tragic, doomed romance, where love and danger are all tangled up together.
And, of course, who doesn't love a good tale of supernatural terror? The kind that sends a real shiver down your spine. All this stuff, from classic horror movies to modern goth fashion, it feels like it's just always been part of our culture. But it had to start somewhere. So where did this very specific recipe of horror, romance, and medieval gloom actually come from? Well, the answer is shockingly specific, and it takes us all the way back to the 18th century, to a very prominent politician, and to a very, very strange dream. The year is 1764, and the source for this whole cultural explosion is one single novel, The Castle of Otranto, written by a man named Horace Walpole. Now, you might be picturing some brooding writer, but Walpole was anything but. This guy was a big deal, a member of parliament, and his dad was Britain's first ever prime minister. But he had this private obsession, the medieval era. He was so into it, he even built his own personal Gothic-style castle, a kind of fantasy home he called Strawberry Hill House. And this is where the story gets truly weird. The entire novel, the book that would kickstart a whole genre, was inspired by a nightmare he had right there at Strawberry Hill. He woke up one night convinced he had seen this exact image, a giant, disembodied hand completely covered in armor. That one bizarre vision was the seed for the entire story. So a weird dream is one thing, but what Walpole did next was just as creative and a little bit sneaky. He didn't just write a story. Oh no, he cooked up a completely fake history for it, pulling off one of the great literary hoaxes of his time. Here's how he did it. On the left, you see the first edition. He published it claiming it was a translation of a real 16th century Italian manuscript that he just discovered. The author, the translator, he made it all up. The whole thing was a brilliant trick to make his wild supernatural story feel like a genuine ancient piece of history. And you know what? It totally worked. At first, critics were raving about this ingenious translator and his amazing find. But when Walpole came clean in the second edition and admitted he wrote it, well, the mood changed. A lot of people called it absurd. See, back then, a proper gentleman politician wasn't supposed to be writing spooky fiction. It just wasn't done. And the plot itself is, let's be honest, gloriously ridiculous. I mean, it kicks off with the groom getting squashed by a giant helmet that falls out of a clear blue sky on his wedding day. From there, you've got a creepy dad, a desperate escape through secret tunnels, mistaken identities, a tragic murder. It's pure over-the-top melodrama. But here's the thing, and this is the really crucial part. Beneath all that silliness and the literary hoax, Walpole knew exactly what he was doing. He was inventing a totally new formula for telling a story. He was creating a brand new kind of thrill. He actually explained his method. He wanted to blend two types of stories. On one side, you had the ancient romance, which was pure fantasy, all magic, ghosts, and impossible stuff. On the other, the modern romance, which was the novel as people knew it, focused on realism and believable characters. Walpole's genius was to smash them together. He took normal people and dropped them into a terrifying, supernatural world. And that tension, that was something new. And what he ended up creating was basically the ultimate starter pack for horror. A crumbling castle, secret passages, bleeding statues, portraits whose eyes follow you, all of these things that feel like classic horror tropes to us, Walpole put them all together for the very first time. He literally wrote the checklist for every Gothic story to come. And let me tell you, people didn't just use his checklist, they ran with it. This one novel kicked off a literary chain reaction that has been echoing through culture for more than 250 years. You can draw a straight, unbroken line from Otranto to some of the most famous stories ever told. First came the imitators, sure, but then came the legends. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Bram Stoker's Dracula. They are all, in a way, the children of Otranto, building on the haunted foundation that Horace Walpole laid. And its DNA is absolutely everywhere in pop culture today. It shaped horror movies, especially the work of directors like Tim Burton. It influenced the music and fashion of the whole goth subculture. And that core idea, normal people in crazy supernatural situations, is the engine for countless TV shows and video games. So after all that, why should a 250-year-old novel about a falling helmet matter to any of us today? Because the Castle of Otranto is so much more than just a story. It gave us a shared language, a set of symbols and ideas to explore our deepest fears and our darkest fantasies. It created the vocabulary we still use to talk about that amazing mix of terror and romance. Which really just leaves us with one last thought. The next time you watch a horror movie, or read a fantasy novel, or even listen to a dark, moody song, look for the ghost of Otranto. I guarantee you'll find its fingerprints are still there, haunting the stories we tell ourselves today. Al prossimo video culturale di Culture and Education.